Hi, my name is Kendall, and today I'm going to be reviewing Flip Your Classroom. Reach every student in every class every day. This book was published in 2011, so it's a relatively new idea. And here's one of the main quotes that I really liked that I pulled from the book. It says, "When we flipped the classroom, we gave the students the control of the remote." And the main point of this learning style is to give the students some choice in their learning and how they can control how they learn, when they learn, and where they learn. These are the two authors of the book. That is Jonathan Bergmann and Aaron Sams. They are two chemistry teachers from Colorado. And in 2006, they were experiencing some troubles with their classroom. They had students who were absent. They had students who were just not getting the material in the class. They were having problems finishing their labs in time during the day, during class time, because students were prepared. So they came up with the idea of recording themselves giving the lectures or the pre-labs online and assigning that for the students to view online on their own time. And then so when they came into the classroom, they would start with an engaging discussion about the lesson. They would do their classwork, they would do group work, labs if necessary. So they basically just kind of, the flipped classroom is where they would do their homework is learning the lesson, and then the classwork is stuff that a class would typically do for homework. So what is a flipped classroom? I kind of just explained that. The teacher introduces the topic in a video, and the students are assigned to watch that video for homework during class. They're going to work on their labs, their assignments, and then this way the teacher is able to circulate and answer questions as needed. So it kind of it changes the role as a teacher. You are doing your teaching in a video, and then when you have class time, you're able to circulate and really communicate with students and develop that relationship, and able to differentiate assignments and give more attention to those students who need more assistance. This is the book. Gave cases for why we should do a flipped model. The book started off with explaining how it worked in their classroom and why they felt the need. It also included a lot of stories of students who would enjoy this model. It was good for students who are absent a lot, kids who are really involved and miss class for games and things like that. It's also good for those special ed students who may maybe learn a little bit slower, or students who are just struggling, so they can go home and then when they're watching the video, they can stop it and they can rewind. They can stop it and watch it again if they need to. Or if those students are excelling, they can be watching it. They said they had a student who watched it at 2 times the speed, which made them sound pretty high-pitched, but the student was able to grasp what they really needed and to move on. And because it's a video series, and they said that they had it recorded all at once, those students who are excelling and ready to move on were able to enrich themselves and do other assignments and even move on to later lectures. So some of the cases for the flipped classroom model are that it teaches students to take responsibility for their learning. Because the lectures are online and they're for their homework, if the student doesn't watch the video for homework, they come to class unprepared and they're unable to participate in the activities for the day. So it's really going to be up to the student whether they're able to be prepared for the class or not, which could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing depending on your students. The teachers in this book had a chemistry class and an AP chemistry class, so I think their students are probably highly motivated. For me, in the classroom I work in, my students aren't as motivated. So when I was reading that, I was wondering how that would work in my own classroom. It is a way to personalize and differentiate instruction. So if you need to students need to spend maybe 2 days on one video, or one of them students is moving really quickly and understanding everything, they can move on, or they can even have an enrichment project during class time while the teacher is reviewing with other students who may not have grasped the concept as quickly. It makes learning the center point of the classroom. So all the learning is going to be happening at home. That's when they're introduced to the topic. So when they come into the classroom, the students are able to ask their questions and they're able to apply what they've learned and apply it to real skills, which I think is really good for students, and it really make them appreciate what they're learning. It also gives students instant feedback and reduces teacher paperwork. So rather than students taking home a worksheet full of practice problems for homework, bringing it back, the teacher either collecting it or going over it during class, the students are given instant feedback in this model because once they're done with it, they bring it up to the teacher. The teacher has already taught the lesson, so they're able to sit down and give feedback to the student of what they're doing wrong, maybe refer them back to the video if they're still stuck, or just provide that one-on-one instruction that will help the student really grasp the concept that they're learning. It provides opportunity for remediation. This is like, again, students keep watching the videos again. If a student's really struggling, then the teacher can recognize that and really be able to carve out time in the classroom to reteach it, maybe teach it in a different way, just to making sure that all students are being reached and all students are grasping as much as possible of the concept. It also allows for multiple means for learning content. So these videos are another way. Maybe this will help some students who learn more visually, maybe students who need to take breaks during the lecture, who don't like sitting through an hour lecture. If they realize that they're dozing off and not paying attention, they can go back and look at the video. So it just provides multiple ways for them to learn. It changes the role of the teacher. I mentioned earlier, rather than them standing up in front of the class for the 45 minutes, they can be circulating. They can really become a guide rather than the presenter during classroom time. It helps teachers help kids. So teachers' job is to teach the students. So this is just kind of knocks off the kind of big block of teaching that material, and it gives teachers a way to really go deeper into what they're learning and kind of make sure they grasp more students rather than just teaching to a full class and hoping that everybody picks up at least something from their one lecture. And this is my analysis of the book. I really liked the book. It was super easy to follow, and I really enjoyed the personal stories that was given. It wasn't just the teachers from Colorado. They also had inserted some stories from other teachers who've tried it. These teachers actually go around the country and give presentations to other educators about it and have received a lot of great feedback. And our class has tried this, so I think it's really cutting edge. I think it's something that we'll see a lot more of in the future. I think teachers are still trying to play with it and see how it could work for different classrooms, different students. I really like how customizable it can be. This was for chemistry, but I can see this being especially useful for my classroom, being a math teacher, and especially for those review sessions where the kids are studying the night before a test, and maybe they forgot how the teacher solved it on the board, or they just forgot one concept altogether. They can go back and review. We see this a lot in college. When I was in college, my professors always had their lectures online. And I know that I always went back and looked for clarification and things like that. And then I continued it on here. I really like how it reinforces the use of technology in the classroom, and that it said that technology, like these videos, shouldn't replace teaching. It's just a helpful tool for them to make teaching more personable and to make it individualized per student so that you're reaching more students and hopefully getting everybody on the same page. And that the classroom is centered around the students again. So instead of the teacher talking the whole time, students can be interacting, students can be asking questions, students can really be having a deeper knowledge on the subject. I think a teacher who is newer probably would be more apt to this learning style and staying ahead of technology, but I think older teachers would have be a little bit more reluctant to use this, just because I know some teachers who've been teaching maybe for 10 plus years use the same material, the same lessons, the same anecdotes, and maybe don't have time to record the videos, or they just don't want to get wrapped up into that. And like I mentioned earlier, I feel like there would be some adaptations each teacher would have to make to fit their own classroom. I don't think that in the classroom I'm working in, that if I left it up to the students to have their lecture online, that every student would view it. I think a lot of them wouldn't have a problem coming to class unprepared. But I do see it being a useful tool, especially when it comes to review time for a big test or a midterm, and having that review session online for students to be able to learn when they're at home And it doesn't take that. And there's a Q&A on the back of this book about like how much time does it really take. And I think that it doesn't take that much time and it could really help students. So I think that it could be a good thing to use in the classroom. And even if it's not for a lot of the time, at least for some aspects of your classroom. And I think, yeah, this class would take this, a strategy takes a lot of trial and error. In the book, it mentioned how they just talked to their students and that's how they realized how they learned, and they were realizing that their students were having the problems that they were. So I think this really takes some teacher going the extra mile and looking into the students and seeing how they would benefit from this model. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you.